So with that, we bring in former Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos, author of Deep State Target, How I Got Caught in the Crosshairs of the Plot Trying to Bring Down President Trump. George, welcome. Good to have you here today. So, you're trying to go about living your life, but here we are back again as this story surfaces that the agent who was handling your part of the case and the person who they sent out to speak to you to try to find out what you knew is now being investigated himself because he left out something that might have exonerated you or Carter Page. It was sort of all part of the same thing. Tell me what your reaction is to that. How do you feel about hearing all this?
Well, thanks a lot for having me, Martha. It's always great to be with you. Look, this is an incredible twist in this long-running saga that I like to call a trilogy. And we're in the final chapter of this trilogy. Of course, the first chapter was Mueller, then you had IG Horowitz, and now you have this final chapter, which I believe is finally going to present the truth to the American public of exactly what really happened during the 2016 campaign. And I also believe that if you're Hillary Clinton, the Democrat Party, and their allies in the mainstream media, you should have been dreading this Sussman trial. But now the FBI itself is also sweating because of this new revelation that John Durham was able to get out of this testimony from Agent Curtis Heide, who, as you mentioned, was not only part of the Clinton email investigation, but he apparently was also in charge of my so-called case. And what's very interesting about all these FBI agents and lawyers who were part of my case, the first person who was found to be guilty by John Durham, a man named Kevin Kleinsmith, is now a convicted felon. He was the lawyer in charge of my case, and now the FBI agent, Curtis Heide, is testifying in open court that he's under some sort of criminal investigation from withholding exculpatory evidence, which I now understand and know what he's talking about. It had to do with a report.
What a shame.
Who was
okay, we got him back.
spying on me apparently for 4 hours, in which I adamantly told him I had nothing to do with the Russians. This information was withheld, and it's clear as day now that he's likely going to face some sort of accountability because of that.
So this is the billion-dollar question. Why? I mean, he's an FBI agent talking to you. You give him some information. Now, he might not have believed you, but that doesn't matter. He leaves that out. So who told him to leave it out? Who was, if indeed he was trying to craft a certain narrative in order to keep surveillance going and get these FISA applications approved, where did this plan or narrative come from? It probably didn't come from his own head.
Well, another very important piece of information that's come out during this trial, and this is, of course, much bigger than a single line to the FBI charge that's been levied against Michael Sussman. What Durham has been able to present to the American public due to testimony by Robbie Mook is that Hillary Clinton herself was instructing her campaign to essentially commit crimes on her behalf, going and spreading disinformation to the FBI the way that Michael Sussman did on behalf of her, and has now levied this charge against him. We also know, based on the evidence in this trial, that the 7th floor at the FBI, meaning the politicized leadership under Comey, was quote-unquote fired up about this potential lead into Trump and Russia. So I don't think, of course, that Agent Heide was running point or leading this investigation. We, of course, know that a very politicized leadership led this investigation. Hillary Clinton herself instigated it, and the FBI agents pursued it to no avail. Now, the key question moving forward is, were they willfully duped, or did they willfully accept this information to defraud the FISA court? And that's where I think John Durham is going to dig into next.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's on to quite an interesting chain here. So the other big question, so you have this agent who potentially is sort of crafting his way through what you've told him and getting rid of the things that didn't work that you told him in order to keep the surveillance going of 2 members of the Trump advisory group between you and Carter Page. Then you've got these agents who are testifying. So I was told to look into all of this, to look into any connections between Trump and Alpha Bank, this Russian bank. And I was told, these agents say, that the source of this information was the Department of Justice. But it wasn't the Department of Justice. It was Michael Sussman, who had hired someone, it appears, through all of this evidence, who had hired someone to cull through numbers to see if they could find any narrative, in their words, any connection to impress the VIPs who had hired them at the Clinton campaign, that there was a connection. In other words, find me some numbers that connect something in Trump world to something in Russia's Alpha Bank. And if you can find that, that's going to be... But then when they turn it over to the FBI agents and say, can you take a look at this? They don't say it came from Michael Sussman, even if he's not there on behalf of a client. They say, it came from the DOJ. Why would they say that? And who would direct them to say that?
And this goes exactly into the key question in terms of intent regarding the FBI's egregious misconduct and potentially legal behavior in targeting the 2016 campaign. Did the FBI willfully take information that they knew was tainted to then obtain these fraudulent warrants, or were they duped? We now know, of course, another big development out of this trial, that Agent Heidi stated that there was some sort of mistake that occurred, that the FBI made this mistake at the height of the presidential campaign to omit the fact that the information came from Sussman and not the Department of Justice, which would have, of course, been a much different situation when trying to trigger a credible investigation into the Trump campaign or Trump tower that they did. So what I think this is all leading to, of course, is Hillary Clinton herself. I believe she's going to have to be deposed moving forward in this investigation by John Durham, and to finally understand what she knew and when she decided to forget it, and why she decided to instruct her campaign to commit this potentially illegal behavior.
Yeah. Well, there's a big difference if you're an FBI agent, they put you a file on your desk and they say this came from the DOJ, which is essentially the boss. Please look into it. Or this came from a guy who walked in off the street and told us that he wasn't working with anyone. He was working on behalf of himself. So, George, thank you. George Papadopoulos, good to see you today. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.